and it is in my opinion that these 42 teams, including the 8 in the Pioneer League, will not get a chance to have a farewell season because there's no minor league baseball this year. So Billings, Missoula, Great Falls, Idaho Falls, Colorado Springs, Grand Junction, Ogden, Orem. And again, it's an opinion, but they're going to go away and they won't have a chance of a farewell season because there's no minor league baseball this year. And that PBA, the professional baseball agreement that is expiring in September, is going to be the doom of baseball. Not fun. There's no question about it. And it sucks. It absolutely sucks. But that's life. Hopefully they get to play a season. But the NFL has floated this idea that they would travel to road games and travel home on the same day, which conceivably could work somewhat. Now, they'd have to travel from west to east coast, an overnighter. But that way they're not staying in hotels. They're not, it's revolutionary. Tyrann Mathieu tweeted out, hell no. But think back to your high school days when you traveled to a game on a Friday night and played and then traveled home and got home on Saturday morning sometimes or late Friday night. It's kind of a cool idea. I mean, in some cases it could work. But, yeah. I think it's kind of a cool deal. If the NFL happens. And again, it's a big, big if. So, what else did I see today? Remember last week we talked about Morehouse College canceling its football season? And cross country canceled its fall sports. There is an article. There's a story up on Sports Illustrated, SI.com, that is very well written. Ross Dellinger, and it talks about Morehouse being one of many. There's 3 schools across the country that have already canceled football. Morehouse came out last week. It's a D2 school in Atlanta, NCAA Division II. And, he talks, Ross Dellinger in his article talks a lot about this fact that, these smaller schools, even at the D1 level, but these smaller schools at FBS, FCS, Division II, Division III, NAIA, can't afford the testing that has to take place for all the COVID because they don't have these big donors. They don't have these rich TV deals like FBS does. It's a great article, SI.com. I shared it on my Twitter page, @JWalkerSports. But it's going to be interesting to see how many of these schools already are going to cancel fall, and that includes football. And we talked a little bit about it last week, and Brenner Flayton said, many schools across the country will play it off as being cautious or looking out for the health of their athlete, but in reality, it's a reason to cut athletics. Because if you can't have fans in the stands offsetting your entire athletic department's budget, bye-bye. Brenner's absolutely right. And it's scary. It is absolutely going to be scary because that's how the COVID spreads. But you're still allowed to protest. How is that possible? And don't tell me everyone's wearing masks at protests because they're not. Don't even come at me with that argument. They're not. But losing Pioneer League Baseball, losing spring sports, I'm trying to remain optimistic, but it's scary. I know we only have 12 hospitalizations in the state of Montana actively. We only have just over 300 cases actively. But you look at, protests in Bozeman, and then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a huge spike in numbers. They're blaming it on bars and parties. So, I don't know. I'm trying to remain optimistic. I really am. I really, really am. But no minor league baseball. And, we're seeing schools cancel their fall sports already. When are more yes, more are expected. When will it happen? Because it's going to happen. More schools will cancel. Was it Michigan and Texas, I believe? The Michigan governor, who is a piece of work, Governor, was it Whitmer? Nitwit, is that it? Has proposed flipping fall sports with spring sports in her state. So it's almost like, okay, let's throw the track athletes, let's throw softball, let's throw golfers out to the wolves with COVID, and then play football in the spring when we know more, and hopefully we'll have a vaccine. Does that sound ridiculous to anybody else, or is it just me? Why would it be okay first? Then let's do that. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. How can people even consider this? This is a real thing that Michigan and I think Texas are looking at. I mean, what if Montana did that? What if Montana comes out and says, hey, you know what? Let's save our high school football and our college football and move it to the spring. We don't even know. We don't know that anything's going to be good next spring. We don't know yet if we're going to have basketball, let alone fall sports. But football saves everything, remember? Anyway. All right. I want to come back. There is breaking news regarding the Darby football coach. And we'll go from there. We'll talk about it when we come back here on the Jason Walker Show.
June is anniversary month at Rutgers Furniture, and you won't believe the savings you'll find on the largest selection of home furnishings in Helena. At Rutgers, you'll find sofas, sleepers, recliners, reclining sofas, leather, bedroom, dining room, occasional tables, entertainment consoles, Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in town, and more. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. For great values on new looks for your home, shop the anniversary sale at Rutgers Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Dinner's Done Right is open and ready for you to stop in and stock up for the summer. How does a Big Sky flank steak sound? Or a sage roasted pork loin? June's menu also includes a Parmesan tilapia and a variety of fantastic chicken cuisines and more. And if that's not enough, Dinner's Done Right's Grab and Go Soup, Salad, and Nacho Bar is back as well, with one exception. The delightful staff now will make it for you. And don't forget deliveries to Bozeman and Great Falls on select days. Stop in at 1212 Cedar Street in Helena or visit dinnersdoneright.com. Do you love to look at photos of Montana, from animals to landscapes and more? Are you looking for a place to get your senior pictures or family portraits done? Are you a business owner looking to upgrade the decor in your offices? Well, look no further than Mark Laro Photography. Mark has been shooting beautiful photos all across the Treasure State, from rodeos to portraits, and would love to work with you. Visit marklarophotography.com to see many masterpieces of his work, then give him a call to schedule your own photo shoot. Or to purchase one of his fantastic pieces, stop by Spirit of the Big Sky Gallery on Custer in Helena. marklarophotography.com.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Uh-oh, I coughed. I have COVID. Just kidding. I have no idea. Oh, man. Jason Walker Show, back in the Major Mortgage Man Cave. This segment brought to you by MarkLaroePhotography.com. That photo right there was taken by Mark Laro at the Townsend NRA Rodeo a few years ago. There will be no Townsend NRA Rodeo, unfortunately, this year, but hopefully it's back and better than ever next year. You can check, by the way, you can actually buy this photo at MarkLaroePhotography.com. And if you do, you'll get 20% off any of his works, not just this one, but any of his works, by mentioning the Jason Walker Show. And if you book a senior portrait package or a family portrait package or anything for Mark, just mention the Jason Walker Show. You get a free 8x10 canvas or matte print. All right, so we were just talking about the Michigan governor. What's her name? Gretchen Whitmer. Is that her name? Yeah, Whitmer. Nitwit. And this proposal that she's thrown out. So she's encouraging the Michigan High School Association to move fall sports to the spring and move more individualized sports like track and field, golf, and tennis to the fall. She expects a decision to be made between July 20th and July 25th. Here's her full statement earlier today.
Calling on schools to follow that guidance. And I'm also calling on the Michigan High School Athletic Association to consider postponing fall sports that have the impossibility of social distancing as a part of them. Consider moving those to the spring and running some of the more individualized sports like track and field or tennis or golf to the fall. And I anticipate a decision coming from them somewhere around July 20th to 25th is what they've indicated. We're calling on schools to follow that guidance. And
wow.
I'm also calling...
Can you believe... Is this for real? That is Governor Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan. Can you see that happening? Is this something that we're going to see from more states, possibly? I think we're going to talk about this more later. Try to get Mark Beckman on maybe next week. Don't forget, tomorrow, the last show of the week, off Thursday, Friday, and taking a couple of days off next week as well. So, just because. All right, so there's been some big news in Darby, and I've stayed away from this. So I've just stayed away from it, and I didn't want to go into it, but so Darby football coach, what's his name? Jeff Snavely, made some comments back in May, and it was about some protests in Salt Lake. He basically said that the protesters should be lynched, to paraphrase. And there's been a lot of fallout in the month of June. They had a big meeting last week. They voted to not fire him. Well, today they came out with a statement. This is Darby Public School, saying, quote, "Coach's comments are on social media unacceptable. No effort to try and explain them or to put them in context erases the fact he chose those words and made the conscious decision to share them with the world." Those words, basically talking about lynching, do not represent this school, this board, our teachers and staff, or the community of Darby as a whole. They've caused tremendous grief, pain, and divisiveness in our community that will likely take a great deal of time to heal, but we must heal, end quote. So are they firing him? No. Here is what they're going to do. This is from Darby Public Schools, their actual statement to the media. Quote, "We chose not to terminate Coach Snavely at this time in hopes that the actions outlined can above and below can help us find a path toward healing. So this is the decision. They will institute a racial social justice committee at the school, take part in community trainings, have school-wide trainings to address social injustices, and then in a year, see if Coach has any changes that he's made in his life. One of those will be he has been suspended for the football season for a year. He's not a teacher. He's just a football coach. So he has been suspended for the year. They added, firing the coach would not have allowed us to make these demands of him, which is that he needs to change. Here's some of the things. So he will be suspended without pay, effective today. He may not coach any Darby students directly or indirectly, including through other coaches. He may not attend practices or football camps. If the season is suspended, the suspension will carry over into next season. So if there's no high school football year due to COVID-19, then the suspension will be carried over. He will be required to attend and complete board-approved one-on-one training or counseling on social and racial injustice at his own expense. Required to attend and help organize at least 4 community conversations set up by the board chair and vice chair. Following completion, he will these community conversations and training will be required to establish a 1-hour program educating Darby youth about the necessity of inclusion, respect, and celebrating all cultures and races. He will prepare and distribute a public apology to the community as well as via social and traditional media outlets. A letter of reprimand will go into his employment file. Samuel Akem, one of the star wide receivers for the Grizz, has been very outspoken about this, and he is pissed. And said, exactly like we thought, the board doesn't see any problem with it. I wish I could say I was surprised, end quote. That's his Twitter page, Samuel Akem. Could the dude have used different words? Yeah. Bill Foley, who is just a moron down in Butte, writes sports. He tweeted out, the Darby School Board wants a man who called for the lynching of black people and their supporters to educate students about the necessity of inclusion, respect, and celebrating all cultures and races. Good God. That is from Bill Foley. Well, you're supposed to capitalize God, right? You're a writer. Anyway. Look, that's why I stayed away from this. I really wasn't going to talk about this story, but it's picked up steam in the last week. Should he have been fired? Who knows? You know, his exact tweet was deleted, or Facebook message. So it's from May 31st. He allegedly suggested that Black Lives Matter protesters in Salt Lake should be hanged. There was a support for Facebook, or on Facebook, in support of law enforcement, and he wrote, quote, they should all be strung up and hang in the public like the old days. A lot less of that S word would go on, end quote. He doesn't specifically call out black people. He does not specifically call out any race. And I'm not condoning lynching of anybody, except for maybe back in the Old West when, you committed a crime, you got punished, and then that was the form of death back then. Hello, Henry Plummer. He says during last week's school board meeting, he was deeply regretful, could have been worded different. That's his problem to bear. He takes full responsibility. Of course he does. But there's a lot of people upset. And rightfully so. But he didn't actually call for the lynching of black people. He didn't. And if you've watched these protests for any of the last 6 weeks, it's not just blacks that are at these protests, folks. There's a ton of white people at them. What he said, wrong. Should he have been fired? I don't know. You can weigh in if you would like. There is a very long article written by Frank Gogla on 406emptysports.com. Brandon Berthelsen and his son Noah from Browning have launched a campaign for everybody to boycott Darby. This was before Darby's announcement came out today of suspending the coach for the season. But they're calling for him to get fired. And they're saying that whoever decides not to cancel their games against Darby is supporting Coach Snavely in his words. Saying that if schools refuse to compete, quote, against Darby, the legitimacy of their football program will come into question every week until the school takes the appropriate action and fires Jeff Snavely permanently, end quote. So they're calling for a boycott of all Darby football games. Look, it's tough. It's really tough, people. You can't say stuff nowadays. You can't. And I'm not defending Coach Snavely at all. I'm not defending anybody in this. I'm not defending Darby. But again, don't just, hello. Social media can get you in trouble. In some cases, you'll lose your job for it. By the way, which is amazing, the amount of stuff that I'm seeing on Twitter in the last 5 months, and especially the last really 2-3 months, from people in the sports community in local areas, in local towns, and the words that they use and the stuff that they're saying, and they're not getting fired. Let's see. Oh, did I say that? All right, let's get to On This Date, brought to you by the Motherlode Sports Bar, Casino, and Restaurant. Going to have sports to bet on, hopefully, by the end of end of July, whatever month is coming up after this one. It is National Meteor Watch Day on June the 30th. It is also Social Media Day. On this date in 1908, a couple of things happened. At 41 years, 3 months, future Hall of Fame pitcher Cy Young became the oldest to record a third no-hitter at the time. Red Sox beat New York 8-0. 1908 as well, Wimbledon. Charlotte Cooper Sterry won her fifth and final Wimbledon title. 1929, Bobby Jones won his third U.S. Open in a 36-hole playoff. He dominated Al Espinoza by 23 strokes in a 36-hole playoff. 1933, the U.S. assay offices would close in Salt Lake City, Boise, Idaho, and Helena, Montana. 1934, Detroit radio exec George Richards paid $7,952.08 to buy the Portsmouth Spartans. Richards would move the team to Detroit, rebrand it the Lions, worth over $2 billion now. 1962, future Hall of Famer Sandy Koufax with his first career no-hitter. He had 4. 1975, Muhammad Ali retained his world heavyweight boxing crown, beating Englishman Joe Bugner, unanimous decision in a rematch in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. 1978, Hall of Famer Larry Doby became just the second African-American manager with the White Sox. He was also the second African-American to play after Jackie Robinson. It was Larry Doby. And then Doby followed Frank Robinson in managing. 1982, New Jersey NHL franchise officially named the Devils by a fan ballot Legend of the Jersey Devil, a creature that allegedly inhabits the Pine Barrens of South Jersey. On this date in 1994, pre-trial hearings opened up for O.J. Simpson. And also in 1994, U.S. Ice Skating Federation barred Tanya Harding for life. Happy birthdays today. 1938, Billy Mills, Olympic gold medalist, 10K, born in Pine Ridge, South Dakota, 1938. Great runner. And I can't remember the name of the movie, but man, it's so good. Happy birthday to Mike Tyson, born on this date in 1966. Michael Phelps, born on this date in 1985. And on this date in 1936, Margaret Mitchell's novel Gone with the Wind was published. And now we can't even watch the movie HBO Max because it's racist. That is On This Day, brought to you by The Motherlode. Let's do this.
We're almost at the end of the show. What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
All right, time for the walk-off. And had a great conversation with Liz Habib from Fox LA. She is the sports anchor. And she's optimistic that we're going to get all the sports played this summer and fall. And there's going to be a ton of them going on in August, September all together with all the sports, NHL, NBA, WNBA, Major League Baseball, college and NFL football. She's optimistic. So we'll try to be optimistic as well. Let's see, what else? Darby's not firing their coach, Jeff Snavely. And you can disagree or agree with that decision. Okay, so there's this. So this was over the weekend, and this is just funny. This was over the weekend. Ian Poulter, after his playing partner tees off, Ian Poulter teed off. Oh, goodness. Come on, that's just funny. The walk-off brought to you by Cafe Zydeco. 625 Euclid, also Bozeman and Billings. Get your dinner taken care of for the day. Tomorrow, Senator Steve Daines, final show of June today. We'll do our first show of July tomorrow. And our final show of the week tomorrow as well. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Liz Habib, for joining us. You can follow her on Twitter. Great follow. And we'll get her on again. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow at 4 right here. Jason Walker Show. This segment brought to you by Mark Laro Photography. Check him out, marklarophotography.com.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.